Welcome back, everybody, to the Freedom Project, her Freedom Project podcast, the show where we go beyond the highlight reels and talk about the real journey behind success. I'm your host, Ivana Butler, and my promise to you is simple. Every guest who sits across from me is here to remind you that freedom isn't something you find, it's something you build. One decision, one challenge, and one comeback at a time. Today's guest is someone who defines that truth. He's a powerhouse in the Las Vegas community, the owner of 3 barbershops, founder of the original barber school, and a man who has turned his passion for cutting hair into a legacy of leadership. This isn't just about business, it's about vision, culture, and creating opportunities where there used to be limits. So let's jump in and get to know the man behind the original barbershop, Mr. Carl Littles.
And
How you doing, Mr. Littles?
how you doing? That was
I'm doing
amazing.
good.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. I worked hard on that. I did a lot of studying, Chat GPT tried to help me.
Yes.
But, I had to go a little deeper because I'm like, I kind of know him. I don't know you, but I know the legacy you're building
Yes.
from an inside-outside perspective. And that's why I wanted you on the show today. So how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you. I feel honored to be one of your guests. I'm just, I'm trying to keep everything afloat.
I feel
Try to
that.
master one project at a time. Everybody sometimes feels overwhelmed with multiple things that you got going with how people are trying to grow in life. So I'm doing good. Thank you for that.
Mr. Littles, when is your birthday?
I am a Virgo, September 4th. Yes, I am.
Y'all know, happy birthday to us. Shout out to all the September
Yes.
4th birthdays. I was not going to get ghetto like this on the camera, but I just remembered looking at him and when he was like, and I'm like, oh, what? I'm looking in the mirror right now. Hold up.
Yep. We tend
This
to.
is my twin in them.
Yes, we try to organize and prioritize things that we have going on. We might have a multitude of things going on.
We always have
Yes, we do.
the multitude of things going on.
Yes, and we love it.
We do. It's like a drug.
Yes,
A little bit.
My wife always says, "You don't feel like you got too much going on." I said, "I like having a lot going on." You know.
I think I got to start admitting that to you when I'm looking out in the audience. I'm talking to my manager. Okay, all right. I got to admit a little more. I kind of like it, even though I look stressed out.
No.
Yeah. All right. So I just want to ask you some things, Carl. Like what my show is about is I bring real people to my listeners and I give them hope through their story, through your story. So if I'm asking too many questions or I don't plan on getting too personal, I really want to keep it like just like what gave you that grit, what gave you that grind and that passion to move on? Because now we're in a different era. And also too, like my twin and them, I own a barbershop as well. So I do relate to a lot of the hustle and the grind of what he's going to talk to y'all about. So the first thing I want to bring up is, like, I want to talk about the beginning before all of it, like, what made you know, like, I want to be a barber?
That's a good question. It started because obviously we all come from, a certain system that sometimes capital is not always flowing through our household. And so with that became an interest in how do I stay clean, how do I stay sharp, how do I keep my personal grooming together, right? And I was in a youth organization called the Kappa Leadership League. And what
The
they
Kappa Leadership League?
Correct.
Okay.
It's a guy right program underneath Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. And it was a guy right program for young men that needed leadership skills, right? And they helped all high school students. And we did a form of pledging, not necessarily pledging, but we did a lot of community service. We had a Kappa Leadership Creed. We had meetings. We did a lot of community service in the industry. But one thing they showed us is how to keep ourselves groomed, how to communicate. And with that, I started going to the barbershop more because I cared about my groom. I cared about how I looked, how I carried myself, my clothes being ironed, my hair being cut, brush, lip balm. Like,
Can we back up and
Yes.
tell my people where you from?
Yes.
Because I want to know more about the Kappa League.
Yes.
But
So I am.
tell everybody where you from.
Yeah, so I am from Las Vegas, Nevada. I grew up on the east side of Las Vegas. And for those who don't know where the east side of Las Vegas is, it is from Nellis to Pecos, from Tropicana to Craig. That's what we consider
Okay.
the east side of Las Vegas. I was born and raised on the east side. My father is from Oakland, California. My mom was born in Reims, France, an hour out from Paris. She's a military brat.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So my father, with his Oakland roots, go Raiders, I was able to adapt, both cultures in my life. My mom being from the UK, from Europe. I'm sorry, from Europe, and my dad being from Northern California. So I had it was very interesting how I was raised, because I would go to my grandmother's house on my mother's side, and they would be having cheese and crackers and wine, right? And then I would go to my dad's side of the family.
They had cheese, crackers, and wine too. It was just in a different format.
Yeah, and they had a little bit of, some Hennessy or some
Oh, you
vodka.
learned about cognac.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
And
In
so
Compton.
no, Oakland.
Oakland.
Oakland. Yes.
All right.
And so, I had a strange balance I think that was healthy for me, because I was able to adapt culture, right? So fast forward this, my mom meets my father. She's out here. They were out here moving from Europe, and they met. And my mom she was so in love with the west side of Las Vegas. And my grandfather used to always say, "You need to stay away from that west side."
She sound like me.
And that was the wrong thing for him to tell her, because she
Straight to the west side.
Straight to the west side. That's when the Moulin Rouge was here, and
I just learned, Carl, I'm not from here, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm from Kentucky. I'm just learning Vegas history. I am a history buff, and I'm just really learning the culture of Vegas, because I go back and forth with my husband. I'm from the South. Some people wouldn't call it the South, but Louisville is the South in aspects of, we have the racism, the things
Yes.
like that. So when I tell him, like, it feels different out here than it did back home. Like, it was more blatant back home.
Oh,
but out here
I
it's
can
a
see
little
that.
different. But now I'm learning Nevada has a sundown town.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No. It's funny you say that, because I used to always tell, friends of mine and some of my brothers, that I didn't experience blatant, in my face racism. It was very systematic. It was behind the scenes, right? I knew I didn't get this position because of this, or I knew they were acting weird because of this. Not necessarily them looking me dead in my face and calling me a nigga. It was more so like, man, why are they moving me over here, and why are these individuals over here, right? So, but I do say that it allowed me to kind of do my research on what that looked like. What does that look like for myself?
It looks different in Vegas.
It looks different.
It does.
Right? There
Yeah.
is a lot of racism in Vegas, right?
For sure.
And I experienced it, flying back and forth from Reno to Las Vegas visiting my daughter as well, right? You can see it. It's completely different in Reno, right? I experienced that at the airport in Reno, right? Made me strip down everything I had on, take everything out of my pockets, jacket, shoes, everything. The guy right behind me, they just let him go right on through, right? And I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me. He was like, he shook his head. But the guy, they didn't want to look me in my face, and so forth and so on, right? We can go on forever about that, right?
We're gonna come back to it
Yes.
because it's also important that everybody knows that you have one of the, I'll say first, because 3 is not enough for me. So you're one of the first Black barber school owners in Vegas, as we talk about this. So it sped my questions up just a little bit.
Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason. Yes. So, but in my studying, and I'm intrigued and just amazed with the process that you went through. Because when we met at a wedding, y'all, in Aruba, and I tore both ACLs. I don't want to talk about it. And but it was a great time. We had a great time. Yeah. That's where I met his wife, and I met him. My husband introduced us, and I got to tell you this, okay? So when my husband first introduced me to you, you got to know, he knows so many people.
Everybody.
So every 5 steps, it was like, oh, that's the homie. Oh, that's the homie. Oh, that's the homie. So when he introduced me to you, it was just like, I'm low-key a little tipsy. We had a wedding party, and it was like 4 days, y'all. It wasn't just and it was Aruba. My first time ever out the country. Anyways, a great time, met great people, beautiful wedding. But my husband goes, oh, that's the homie. I'm just thinking it's another homie, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And barber homie at that.
Yes.
Oh, God. All right. Hey, how you doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Uh-huh. But then when we walked away, he goes, nah, that's Carl. He'll die for this shit too. And so
Yes.
So when I
Yes.
was preparing for the interview, I'm like, I have got to tell the story
Yes.
on how
I love
we
that.
met.
I
Because
want
when we
that
were walking
for
away,
every-
and I was like, babe, should I tell him that? I don't want him to be offended because, but ever since that day, Carl, let me tell you, ever since that day, everything that he told me, third party, but
Yeah.
he's your friend. So
Yeah.
everything that he said that you set out to do, you did it.
Yeah.
So now here we are. This was 2019, y'all. Now it's
Yeah.
2025. This man got 3 barbershops, a barber college in Las Vegas. I'm going to let you tell your story, but just know that I'm impressed.
So let me tell you, I am so happy that people would look at me in that fashion behind barbering. And that is the initial goal. I tell my students all the time, you want people to think that you're completely obsessed with your career path or whatever you're pursuing to do or be in life. And I tell them that because I want word of mouth firsthand to go my direction. If someone says, hey, man, I want to be a barber. Oh, you know what? I know somebody that's crazy about teaching. I know someone that's crazy about barbering. And I want them to think about me first. So,
Well, we do.
Thank
We
you.
do. We do in
Yes.
the aspect of school, but
And-
you know, we neck and neck with this barbering stuff. So, you know, the shops and stuff, you know, we going to promote each other.
Yes.
But he's the one with the school. He's the one that is building chairs for even though I'm a barbershop owner, me and my husband, like, we need him. We need him. We need his leadership in our profession. We need a person like him who loves what they do. Some, you know, I have always wanted to do more in our industry, but there's hella glass ceilings in our industry. Like, it almost feels like it stops behind the chair. Like, what does that take to get beyond that? And for real, like financially, like tell people.
So I truly believe we have to start with our veteran leadership. And I know it sounds so cliche for us to constantly like embark on how important like we have to kind of mentor, right? And what I mean by that, right? I know we talked about things, you know, about barbershop owners promoting, you know, that we're open from 8 to 5 and then barbers don't come in until 10 or they leave at 3, right? And that's kind of like a slap in the shop owner's face, right?
Yeah.
So we do have to understand that they did come in the industry for that you know, flexibility of schedule, you know, the financial advantage that we can have by staying behind the chair. I get that. But we have to have integrity about our industry. We still have to withhold a certain standard, right? That this culture is created for years, right? We have a rich history, right?
Very rich.
Very rich history. And the culture is starting to, it's the only reason it's getting saturated is because we have people wanting to treat it like a hustle opposed than a profession.
Right. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with something that's more than just inspiration. It's implementation. I've created the 30-Day Freedom Blueprint Journal for anyone ready to stop sitting on their goals and start taking daily action. This journal walks you through 30 days of real self-work, clarity, consistency, confidence, all the things you need. It's the same process I use to rebuild my mindset, my business, and my peace. So if you're tired of waiting for the perfect moment, this is it. Grab your copy, start today, and tag me in your journey using hashtag Freedom Blueprint 30, and we can grow together. You can click the link in the description. Let's make these next 30 days the most intentional days of your year, one page at a time. Thanks, guys. See you in the next episode.
Profession. And we have to lead by example. We have to come in with our smocks on. We have to come in with our pants ironed. We have to come in being well groomed. We have to come in at 8:30. We have to leave at 4:30. We have to take an hour lunch. We have to keep business cards on us. We have to show them what that looks like. I told another shop owner, he called me. He said, "Man, I have to fire like 3, 4." I told him to be there at on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 8 and leave at 4. I had to fire 3, and they coming in with Crocs on. And I thought to myself, do you come in at 8? Do you wear Crocs? Have they seen you with Crocs? Do you take an hour lunch? I get when we have 10 years behind the chair and we build clientele and we're stable, but what good is our message if we're not walking what we're preaching, we're not preaching what we're saying? What good is that? Because they're going to look at us, they're young, this is a different era. We have to adjust to that. So when we see young barbers and they're not doing the ideal scheduling that an owner want, who's our managers?
For sure.
You know, I tell people all the time, I have a 14 chair shop. That's my baby on Tenea. I never had a chair open because
14 chairs.
14 chairs.
Wow.
I never had a chair open when I was working there because they see me there every day. They see me there from 8 to 5. They see me cleaning up. They see me wiping things down. And they liked that. They enjoyed that. And they wanted to be around me. They wanted to know, how did I get here? So they wanted to pick my brain every day. And I had multiple people say, hey, I want to work with you. When I opened up a school, slowly that started to fall, right? Mm-hmm. But I go back to say, you know, our younger generation has to see people doing what we want them to do.
And I'm going to piggyback off of that. They got to see it being done. So
Yes.
I want to bring up something that in my studies about you, ChatGPT told me. I didn't know you opened the school in the pandemic.
Oh, man. I told you that. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I did my homework. Yeah.
That's probably one of the
incredible.
That was
Like,
one of the toughest times of my life.
Tell me about that. I want to know because I was I was at home making a mask. I had to go into a whole nother profession to keep things afloat. They shut us out. They shut us down. We couldn't do anything. So I want to know, and I want my listeners to know how you did that when there was there were no resources. There were resources if you had businesses like PPPs and different things like that. Not in an abusive kind of way, but it was just really hard to do anything when they weren't letting us even go into our shops and work.
No.
How'd you do it?
A lot of patience. I had to talk. You know, I have an amazing supporting cast with my wife, my business partner, close friends and family. And me and my business partner got the keys 1 month before they shut down. And that was at a point where I was thinking to myself, I'm getting ready to try to open up a barber school, a particular profession that is in close proximity with people, and they're telling us that right now that no longer exists in the world. I was extremely nervous because we had a lot of money tied up. We bought the building, right? So it was a lot of money tied up with not only doing the build out, but just tied into just the purchase of the building.
So things were probably going up and down, huh? Like you
Yes.
didn't know if it was going to open. You didn't know if
Materials was going through the roof because, they could at the moment. People were not working, right? And I told my wife, I said, I don't know if I made a good decision. And I said, I don't even think I could have seen this coming. No one could have seen it coming. Slowly, thanks to Commissioner Weekly, that was one of my mentors when I was in the Capital Leadership League. He told me to put some guidelines together with some other shop owners in the city. Me, myself, Elliot Chester, Marcus Allen, and Gwen Chaney. And we all were on conference calls putting together guidelines and stipulations for barbers for the shop to be a part of the first phase. Okay. And so we submitted it to Lawrence Weekly. He got it to the mayor and his constituents, and they were able to allow us to open up the second phase, I believe. And that's what gave me hope. Right, that's what gave me hope. And
so you kept going. You never stopped, even though hope wasn't in the room.
Yes,
faith might have been using the bathroom or something.
But we did not stop. I did not stop at all. And within every business, every profession, every journey, right, you have to have some type of resilience. Right, you have to be able to say, if you put a brick wall in front of me, right, how do I jump it? How do I go around it?
Yep.
right? And it's never over. You might have to make some small adjustments. You might have to take 2 steps back, to take 4 steps forward. But it's all in the story, right? It's already written for us, And a lot of people ask me, like, do you still enjoy barbering? I say, yeah, I enjoy it. I always have hurdles. I always have moments where I'm like, man, this is tough, or as far as, keeping barbers in there, keeping them motivated, being a better instructor, being a better mentor, being a better owner for the school, for my staff.
Yeah.
That's
The
something
industry
that
is changing a lot.
it's changing a lot.
So it's changing a lot to the point where I think some of us OGs, I've had my license for, I won't date myself, but a long time, more than 20 years, ever since I was 17. And I was licensed in Indiana, but I didn't get to operate really for real until I moved out here. And once I moved out here, for me, at the age that I moved out here, trying to build a clientele, it was so different because it just felt like everybody was gatekeeping. Nobody wanted to teach nobody else anything. And so to meet people like you who want to pass down that culture. And when I opened my salon after the pandemic, I really wanted to open a space for stylists who could come in and learn and bounce off like old school. Like,
Yep.
we talk and, we show each other things. And by you seeing me be dedicated, but it was so crazy because it seemed like all the weight shifted on me. They're like, oh, she's here every day. She did everything that you were saying.
Yep.
I felt like I was applying, but I couldn't pass that mentality on to everybody else that was working with me. And it just felt like I was bearing more and more and more of the weight. So I ended up closing my salon because the pressure, it didn't create a diamond.
Yeah.
It didn't. So I was able to move back into my barbershop that has a suite in there. And I've always felt the culture was so different in my barbershop versus my salon. But I do appreciate having them OGs in there. I have a shop full of OGs, and I call
Yeah.
them my 4 quarters because I'd rather have 4 quarters than a whole bunch of pennies any day.
Absolutely.
Okay? And when I didn't know how I was going to pay rent, my 4 quarters were there.
Yeah.
Sometimes my 4 quarters had to get other jobs because our industry just was not doing, it just wasn't doing what it needed to do to take care of our people.
And I had to do some soul searching, and I had to do some research on this generation coming up. And we were there. We were them.
Yeah, we were.
We were them. And no one stopped us from changing the industry either, right? We used to tell a lot of the OG barbers that I worked with, hey, OG, adjust. We don't want you to get left behind. We don't want you to be this dinosaur in the industry. And we were telling them, right? And this is how I had to look at it now that I am back with young, up-and-coming barbers in the school. I had to tell myself, if they would have stopped us from growing, right? Shame on them, right? Obviously, the industry wouldn't evolve. So we can't do that to the newer barbers that are coming into the industry. We have to adjust a tad bit as well. They're doing enhancements. They're doing color, right? They're doing, burst fades, like
And
mullets.
it's so funny, when I hear the OGs talk, no, I don't do all them enhancements and all that, but you got to think a lot of this generation is on camera now. They're on camera, so the enhancements
they
and all
want that to be
is
seen.
perfect for what they do.
I got a good friend of mine. He works for Andis Clipper Company. His name is Kenny Duncan, right? And before enhancements it was already a thing, right? It was frowned upon for years, but right when it started to really, really take off, he went and he took a class to do makeup. Like, he's the barber on Creed. He's the barber for multiple movies, episodes, TVs. He's one of the barbers for Philadelphia 76ers. And he was telling me, he said, Carl, listen, he said, our platform is allowing us to put people in front of people, millions, thousands of people, with our social media platform. He said, it has to look picture perfect. So he went back to school to learn how to do makeup.
Yeah.
Just another form of what? Enhancements.
Yep.
Right? And I get it. Like, a lot of OGs all wanted natural. And enhancements is not for our everyday consumer, our everyday client. That's not what it's for.
See, I don't know y'all's job as the barber. Well, I do know your job as the barber, and I also know the history of the barber. You guys started out drawing blood. You guys were the
Yes.
blood bank for the community.
Yes, we were.
A lot of people don't know
Yes.
that. I'm a cosmetologist, so it's just like a little paragraph in Milady's that tells us that about y'all. But it's something that I've always been intrigued with. But I also know that that is the difference that separates us with the razor. Because everybody asks, why you have to be back here in this room? I'm like, it's a long story, but it's a good one.
Yeah.
But it makes sense to me.
Yes.
I just think about the history of all of that and everything that happens. But what we learned and how we learned it was it's the optical illusion. Our job is to create the optical illusion. And I think that because barbering came from somewhere else that was more like health related, it wasn't about looking good. Our job was always about looking good, the
Yes.
cosmetologist. So that's what our foundation is. We create the optical illusion. We learn facial shapes, facial structure, eye shape. We learn all these things so we can balance it out for you, whether it's on camera or off camera. But now it's even more prevalent, the on-camera thing, because you have so much access to so many people, and you do want to look picture perfect all the time.
You do. That's
So maybe the new kids are onto something, you know?
I didn't do enhancements. I love doing them. I have an amazing time doing enhancements, right? But I have clients that they're bartenders.
I create optical illusions.
Yeah, they're bartenders, or they work valet, and obviously they're not, But then I have a client like Wanye. When I would work with Wanye, and he would go, do a show, he would need an enhancement for every show, Or if I get a good friend of mine just had a wedding, and the whole wedding party, they are getting ready to take pictures. I'm enhancing everybody before the pictures, right? So it's something that you want to be able to provide. You want that to be a part of your service if you have to apply that, right? You're just kind of leaving money on the table if you can't provide this, if someone else can. It's no different than chemical texture services that's underneath our licenses with perms back, right? If a client needs a perm, can you provide that service? Or are you going to leave that on the table? You're going to allow somebody else to do the perm, and then somebody else is going to do the cut. Or you can just go ahead and do all in one.
I had to learn all of that, all the way down to, I had to get smart because I would always send my clients to the beauty supply, make sure you come with your hair. And I'm like, hold on, I get the proper licensing. I get, the proper certification. I could just order the hair through the company in bulk, have it here, upcharge. I had to learn about the upcharge and the add-on. He calls me Queen a la carte.
Yeah.
I am not, but I am.
Yeah.
But I had to learn that. I'm like, how are some people making this amount of money in our industry? I'm doing the same service. I'm probably even giving, sometimes I'm not going to say I'm the best, but you can check my Yelp, better services than some of the work that I'm seeing. And I'm like, my heart is still only letting me charge so much. So let's talk about pricing and things like that, and how you go about that. I'll tell you how I go about it, and then you can tell me from a teacher's perspective and from a barber's perspective.
So I teach all my students to value their service at $1 a minute. And so if they're going to get a ball fade, on a gentleman's ball fade, you can spend anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes. So that's probably the going rate. Now, our industry standard, I think at the high peak of our industry standard right now, you'll get someone maybe charging $1.50 a minute or $1.25 a minute. But if you do a shampoo and a haircut and a shave in 1 hour and you charge someone $60, that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good price to give someone. And speaking of a la carte, I tell the barbers, do not have all these services on your Booksy or on your Get Squired account. I said, it's very similar if you go to McDonald's and you say, I want a Big Mac. And you tell them, you know what? Take the pickles and onions off. Charge me less. They ain't finna charge you less.
But they'll take them pickles and onions off.
They sure will. You can get a Big Mac with just cheese and meat, and they still gonna charge you the Big Mac price they put the dressing on there, lettuce, everything on there. And I tell them the same thing. I give them that analogy because I tell them the same thing. I say, if someone wants enhancements, if someone wants, a hot towel shave, just have it all included in a haircut. Have it all in a haircut shave. And if they don't want it, so be it. The price is not changing, right? I said simplify it for our clients, because when they go on your services, they're going to look and say, okay, the haircut is $25. It's going to be 25 minutes. Haircut beard is going to be $45. He's going to spend 45 minutes. Add the shampoo, extra $15. It's going to be $60, right? I want to make sure that our barbers give themselves some type of explanation. If a client, just for shits and giggles, is talking to the client, said, man, how do you guys set your price point, right? Be able to say, a standard industry, a standard base is $1 a minute, and that's where we start out, no matter where we're at in the city, and then we can go and we can grow from there. And every year we're supposed to give ourselves a raise. March 1st by Ivan Zoot is the annual raise your price day, March 1st for barbers. It's actually, you can actually Google it. He actually made it official.
Oh, I am. ChatGPT and everything on it.
Yes.
Like, I never heard of that, but I
Yes.
was always conflicted because he makes so much fun of me. But I'm like, I love what I do, and I just I know that there's a glass ceiling. I want to do more. I want to do more in the community. I want to do more for the culture, but I feel like I'm in a glass box. Like, part of me, I get caught up, just the daily hustle and bustle of running the shop, raising my kids, being a mom, being a wife. And then I'm like, how do I grow this shop? Like, what, like.
But let me ask you this. Do you do things outside of that, right?
No.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is going to allow us to grow, right? And allow us to get more knowledge on how to run a business. Are we doing more? Are we reading more books? I just got the book at the Barber trade show. I'll talk about that too, because that's a part of what puts a battery pack on. And T knows this.
And I did want to ask you about that trade show. Yeah.
So I went to the Las Vegas trade show, and it's about $7,000 to $8,000 people at attendance every year at the Westgate. And what I get from there, you hear a lot of backlash to barbershop.
Is this the LV Barber Expo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And I know we get a lot of backlash from barbers. They be like, man, I ain't going there. It's a bunch of barbers that act in, Hollywood, and I hear that, right? And I get it, because there are, right?
Now Jackie does that one, right?
Jackie
She
does
has
that,
a lot
and
to do with that.
it's an amazing show. And what I mean by amazing, you get to see entrepreneur at his finest in there. And and let me give you an example. There is approximately 40 to 50 booths in there of people that majority of the people do not have a brick and mortar, don't have a storefront, and they are in there catering to the barber industry, giving back to us. They don't have to spend money to be a vendor. People are looking at the aesthetics of the people walking around. I'm looking at the vendors that are trying to get their business off the ground. That's what's giving me my energy. When I see someone with a beard oil, a beard balm, a pomade, trying to start a new clipper, trying to have a barber clothing line, trying to sell capes, smocks, they just invented a booking software for us. All these things, people are doing demos with techniques. We're looking at the wrong thing. We're looking at the consumer that's walking around shopping. I'm looking at the businesses that are being created within this show. And when I see that, I'm walking up to them and I'm making them give me their spiel. Because you know what that's going to do for me? That's going to allow me to know what I want to do. Right. What holes are in this industry. Every time I see somebody, I say, man, tell me, you could be selling cupcakes. And I'm going to say, can you tell me what we got going on here? And you could just see the joy come out their eyes. And they're like, and they're giving you this spiel because they bought backdrops, they bought table covers, they spent $1,200 for this booth. Why am I looking at someone that got glasses on and got their beard painted? That's great. That's a part of the industry. I'm looking at ingenuity. I'm looking at all this stuff that's going on in here that people are trying to cater to us. Yeah. No one talks about that. All we hear, and I know I'm not lying to you, right? All the OG barbers, man, I ain't going there, man. I ain't doing this. I ain't going. I'm not going. I'm not spending
I
my money.
told you I got a shop full of OGs. I already,
And I
but
me
they
too.
don't look at it like that. They actually, some of my barbers do attend the expo, but me, I'm in like this weird space. Like I'm a cosmetologist, but I'm a barbershop owner, so I don't fit in the barbershop world. I don't fit in really the hair world because I'm the only cosmetologist in Vegas that owns a barbershop. So it's like,
But
I'm looking for a place to
but
call home.
But neither does the owners of Wall. Neither does the owners of Andis. Neither does the owners of JRL. They're not barbers.
But to piggyback off of what you said about the products and the things that are made at this expo, like I do those things, not all of them, but just like the oils and the balms, like I'm always trying to figure out how to expand and grow it. But I know there's strength in numbers too.
Yes.
I think with my caseload, I'm overwhelmed, but at the end of the day, the passion is still there that I'll always find a way.
I just got back from Reno last night. I went to the biggest, is that how you say it? The littlest, biggest, or biggest, littlest trade show, because that's what they say about Reno, right? The littlest, biggest town or whatever. And he had about 250 in there. It's a young guy named Jack of All Fades, and this is his first trade show.
I like that name.
He said, Carl, can you come on down? I said, yeah. I knew what to expect. I just went to Jackie's trade show, and it's 6,000, 7,000 people, right? I knew he was going to have 250 people in Reno, right? But I knew what I was going to get out of that, right? I went and I wanted to go by all the vendors. I didn't care who. I went and I looked at the young men competing, right? And I was looking, I said, what can I get from this? Like,
So trade shows for you are like carnivals.
They are,
You know what
it's like
you want to do but before you even get
Yes.
there, and you're gonna do it.
I'm gonna
And
do
you don't
it.
care what nobody say.
I don't care what nobody say.
I like
and
that.
they said, was
You
it a
make me
bad?
wanna go to a trade show now.
Yeah, they said, is it a bad one or was it a good one? I said, I mean, is there a such thing as a bad or a good trade show when they have people selling stuff for us?
That's
Right? When they have, barbers competing to see if they can critique this haircut in 45 minutes and they're getting judged on it, right? You'll have a client walk in the door, you got to get him out of there in 45 minutes. That's the same niggas competing. He going to judge it when he get home, right? There's going to be educational classes, people talking about techniques or enhancements or, a certain level of professionalism there is some motivation going on in there. That's no different than you going to a podcast. You're just getting it live. They kill me sometimes. Some of our barbers, they kill me because they find a reason to say no. Mm-hmm. I always look at the glass half full than half empty. Everything that I do in my life,
I like that. Man,
I can go on.
I could go on all day too. Like
I'm glad.
And I
T
went
still talk.
completely off script. Like but
Yeah,
I had to
good.
get that intro in, and I have to get this outro out.
Thank
but
you, T.
I want.
Because I'll die behind this.
I know he will. He will. Oh my God, I'll never forget that.
I tell my students, I say, I feel like I'm a walking barber pole. And they be
You
dying
are.
laughing. I said,
You are.
I said, when I come, wherever I go, I want them to be like, man, that's the barber. Instructor, whatever you want, owner, whatever. That's him. That's the barber.
Yeah, but you built that. You built that, and that's what inspires me the most about you. Because out of all the homies,
Yeah.
I could have had a lot of people on my show,
I feel honored.
but
I do.
I wanted you, and I wanted to talk to you because I knew you could teach me some stuff too. So it's not just about us talking. It's about what I can bring to my listeners because. We think the same, and
Yes.
it's like I'm still in that space where I want to grow, and I would love to own a school one day. My husband knows that, but anyways, I would love to own a school one day. So just to be able to sit down and talk to somebody who's actually doing it, and he knows another person who owns a school, but I don't feel like I could have the conversation because I don't know him. Like,
Yeah.
You watched me break my ACLs in Aruba.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So I felt like we could have a conversation,
Yeah, absolutely.
But I thank you so much,
No.
Carl, for coming on this show and
Yes.
talking to me and my listeners and giving us a different perspective because from the outside, it looks like your place is unattainable. But you came in today and you let us know that when the world was shutting down, I was still trying to figure it out as the
Yes.
walls was closing in.
Yes.
I had already put my money down. It was already there. The dream was coming to fruition.
Yeah,
it was coming. It was there. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on this show, Carl. And if there's anybody out there who is thinking about going to school to be a barber, reach out to Carl, reach out to me, reach out to however you need to do it. But he owns the original Barber College, right? Am I saying that right, Carl?
You can say school.
The
Yeah,
original
the
barber school. And we're located, all right, in Las Vegas. He's located in Vegas, but we are in Las Vegas. So if you are in Vegas and you're thinking about becoming a barber, reach out to the original barber. Reach out to the original barber school located on
5812 South Pecos.
All right. And we out.